you know, he'd be all taped up and he'd have baby oil all over him. Big brother, what do you think we're gonna do? I look up at him playing cards and go, no baby oil, get out! Get out, no baby oil.
It's not baby oil. It's GHB. Who has 1,000 bottles of baby oil? If baby oil was such a big part of all these parties and all the things that Diddy did to his victims, some celebrities would have made a joke about it here and there. We would have heard about it. Especially Chrissy Teigen couldn't be paid to shut her mouth. That bitch would have cracked a joke about it, for sure. I just watched this man's TikTok about how it's not a baby oil. It has to be laced with drugs. So as I'm reading the comments, someone said, that's why Jaguar Wright said in one of her interviews at the end, she said, blink twice. Blink Twice was a movie with Channing Tatum. He would spray perfume onto women who would make them forget everything. So then somebody else in the comments said, yeah, and GHB is slippery. So I look up, what is it called on the street? Look at the last one, liquid ecstasy. Side effects that include seizures and comas. It was taken off the shelves or something in like the 60s. What is GHB used for in bodybuilding? Performance enhancement additive. What are the positive side effects of GHB? Feelings of euphoria. What is GHB for parents? Usually available as a clear liquid. It's not baby oil. It just makes sense because why would the feds confiscate fucking baby oil? And how do you get so many people to comply besides money? You drug them.
Yo, so we back in here for another edition of F-ya-Motha, and this episode, this is gonna be, in the words of Diddy, the saga continues. Everybody's making jokes about him with the baby oil, as y'all seen. You know what I'm saying? Even myself, I'm no exception. Everybody's making jokes about him having baby oil. You got Costco saying that they released a statement saying that they don't sell baby oil. So he got baby oil in bulk, but I guess they figure, look, we don't want to be a part of that shit. And so even they're trying to distance themselves away from Diddy, which I think is bullshit. And I could have swore that Costco sold baby oil because they sell Pampers and baby lotion and anything to do with babies. So I'm assuming they would have sold baby oil, but they say they don't. So even they trying to distance themselves away from them. And everybody's taking shots at Diddy, rightfully so. I don't think he's guilty of what they're claiming, and the reason is because out of all these people claiming that, right, the whole no Diddy phrase is popularized as being inappropriate, I guess, sexual contact with a man. None of the accusers that's come to accuse him, or none of the accusers that's accused him in lawsuits, and this is the 12th misconduct lawsuit, have been men, except the inmate in, I think he's in Detroit, Michigan, claimed that Diddy diddled him in 2000 or in 1997 at a party where he woke up after quote unquote being drunk alcohol, passed out, and when he woke up he said Diddy was having relations with a woman and looked at him and said he did the same thing to him. Now that particular person is actually doing 15 years in prison for SA, so I didn't find that credible, how you claim that somebody SA'd you and you're in prison for SA, right? Plus he's an inmate, and that's the mentality of an inmate. He usually be on some unscrupulous stuff. But his latest quote unquote victim is suing him for punitive damages, right, in a civil lawsuit, saying that, and this is so like convoluted, but she says between 2020 and 2024, so during the quarantine, that the producer / rapper had essayed her on multiple occasions. And it starts right here with quotations from the docket transcript. Every visit, defendant Combs would make her perform a show for him and ply her with alcohol and substances until she passed out, meaning he fed her drugs. But I don't know how anybody plies you or forces you to do drugs and alcohol, right? That's an informed decision you make as an adult. And not only that, who's to say that they were laced with substances? said that he fed her ketamine. I don't know how anybody feeds you or force you to take ketamine, right? Once again, I think these are things that you did on your own volition and trying to accuse Diddy of forcing you, right? So I hope he fights that. Plus it's a RICO charge and he's the only one named in the indictment. They say there's other people named in the indictment, but they haven't listed those people. So until they do, I ain't taking that as credible. She also says that she would wake up with bruising and injuries with no recollection of how she sustained the injuries. To me, that's reasonable doubt. It also says Combs forced John Doe to have VA intercourse without her consent at his home in April 2022, according to one alleged incident cited in a complaint. Once again, if he did that in 2020 or 2021, one has to ask, why would you come to his house in 2022? Doesn't add up. Not only that, she says that she didn't recall any incidents that, or she couldn't recall the alleged incident. So meaning that's reasonable doubt, because if you can't recall it, how do we even know it happened? That's just your word against his. It also says that in 2022, she woke up with her feet purple and bruised as she had a bite mark on her heel, the complaint stated. She did know how she sustained the injuries. Yeah, it was consensual. All these people claiming this stuff is dope heads. Even Cassie was a drug addict. It says that Doe alleged she was forced to take ketamine. Right there, how are you forced to do drugs? One has to ask, why would you reappear or have reoccurring visits to his house if you knew you were going to be forced to do anything, right? It also says in July 2024, according to the complaint, Combs commanded Jane Doe to his house in Miami, Florida, and shoved 2 pills in Jane Doe's mouth. How does anybody command you to come to their house? He called you, told you to come over. You tried coming, or you came over on your own volition. Once again, reasonable doubt. All this seems like very suspicious. Like I said, he's the only one named in the complaint, and a racketeering charge. Usually they use that for the mob. Usually that's for people. Usually that's for several people, not just one person, right? So they got to be more specific with the actual racketeering. They got to be more specific with the sexual misconduct or sexual assault. All this just seems like hearsay. And because he settled with Cassie sometime last year between November and December, within 24 hours, I have reason to believe that the people coming forward now see this as a cash grab, because none of these people in this civil complaint are listed as complaints in the criminal case. So me personally, it says Combs is pled not guilty, and he should. It says the complaint is the latest allegation of sexual violence against Combs and comes a little more than a week after he was indicted on charges of racketeering, conspiracy, SA trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution, meaning he had prostitutes working for him. So he was conducting said activities in the capacity of a pimp. It says Combs, 54, has pleaded not guilty to the charges. He was denied on bail and remained in federal custody as he awaits trial. I'm figuring they're doing that because they're trying to collect evidence, not that they actually have any evidence. So if I was him, I would just sweat it out for all the people saying that somebody's going to Epstein him. I highly doubt it. Even though he is powerful and rich. Well, let me take that back. He's powerful within the music industry and rich. I don't think that power actually extends outside of music, just like Jeffrey Epstein's. A lot of people like to say that he had power, like they like to place this imaginary power on people like him, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. Other than music or entertainment, they had no power, right? Power is where you can control all facets of life, or majority of them, not just one industry. So I'm hoping that like you stay firm, take it to trial, make the state prove that he did it. I had to tell a friend the other day, it's not about you having to prove that you didn't do something. When you go to trial, you have to make the state prove that you did do it. That's how the court system works. Never go into a court system thinking you got to prove your innocence. You just have to make them prove that you did do it, not that you didn't. It's called reasonable doubt. In any event, if y'all like this episode, you know what to do, and I'm out.